you guys. It's MJ from All to Love TV. And today is the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm broadcasting live from the United Kingdom. I'm hearing in my head from the United Kingdom in the UK. All to love and grace. I talk about grace and things like love a lot on this channel. And today is the summer solstice, which means it's the longest day of the year for us. And morning. I have been blowing my schnoz. You guys might know this, like I don't like to use the expression like I'm sick because I don't buy in. It's always like I'm clearing, but I'm actually not. The other, because like I feel totally fine. I just had a couple sneezels, and you know when you sneeze, the plasma comes out. Woo! So love and grace. Is love and grace really your kids' names? How gorgeous. Hi, Mike. So I have nothing planned for today's share. I have nothing written down other than freedom versus fear. I'm like, what is the difference between freedom and fear? And here's like kind of the thing when you really noodle into it. Like, and I know people talk about this before, but like there's really only two perspectives. It's like freedom or fear. You're either feeling free and joyful and happy, or you're not. And if you're not, you've got some energy to transform, my friends, and you're more than capable of transforming it. Like, I believe in humanity, and I believe that all of humanity has the capacity to transform the fear that they carry inside themselves so that they can transform the fear in the world. It's sort of like that. And I guess that's sort of this idea of us embracing our superpowers. And oh my God. Okay, first of all, I don't know what you do to me. I don't know what you guys do to me, but I don't know what is up with my moods these last couple days, because there's a lot of tears going on. There's a lot of tears going down right here in this special spot. And but then at the same time, like big moves and like, you know, like excitement and motivation is actually starting to come back. And I went for a walk yesterday, you know, like, you know, when you do like well-being things, you're like, I did it. I did the good thing, you know? So, oh dear Lord. Happy-go-lucky, bless. I love that. Polar opposite. I had a polar day yesterday. Do you mean it was like a swingy day? I have every day. Oh, hi, Megan, and Love and Grace, and Sergio. Okay, so I was basically telling you guys about my moods and like the tears and but not just the normal grief and despair. Welcome to All to Love TV, where everyone here feels like no. Well, so yeah, there's like these really deep depths, and there's this sort of stop and go feeling, but more stop and or don't just stop, push yourself back, you know. It's like just like wading through tar and kind of just thinking we're never gonna there, and like these sort of really deep feelings of possibly having review and or like aha moments regarding certain energetic patterns tracing right back to childhood, or even like your origins, even something to do with like your soul essence. However, I'm aware that like remember that all of the shittiness, and this is my awareness, so all of the shittiness in our lives, it was actually us reclaiming our soul freedom. It was actually us like putting pieces of ourselves back. Like all those times you cry and cry and cry until you bottom out and are like, you know, like I'm gonna get through this, or like or that classic thing of devil get thee behind me, or like no matter how much pain there is, no matter how much sadness or whatever, or you know what I mean, but when you get right to like the pin drop, there's nothing else left, there's no more tears, then that's the transformation, like that's the moment where we can either choose to remain bitter, we can choose to remain hard, we can choose to remain in the blame and attack energy in that moment, right? And or we can burn through it and go like, and I'm still gonna love that, and I'm still gonna rise above that. And so we're still having to really dig in and love the self. We're still having to really thank you guys. Well, thank you specifically, all of you, but Love and Grace specifically, because threw me some extra. Read all about it. You know, the donations or whatever. And nice. I love how many of you have responded to my tear photo on my community page. And just like we don't even have to try no more. It's synchronistic. Like literally one of us will be like, storming, or like, like, and how refreshing is it? Even when we're in the swamps, knowing that we're not alone. You know, I think that is such a huge thing. Even in our weird and crazy world of mental health, like so often when you're in the depths of darkness, you don't need anyone to remind you, and you don't need anyone to fix you. You need someone just to like make you feel like it's totally okay. Like, that's cool. You know, like when you can just be there and just hold space for people and all that kind of stuff is really juicy. Um, so what's going on, you guys? As you can see, I've planned a great deal to discuss today on this fine solstice day. But I kind of just figured, why not just go live and hang out with my besties and see what's going on, you guys? Breathe in the love for sure. Divine says is, and this is where it is, like that depth of darkness from within the self is really the depth of your own compassion, the depth of your own unity with self. No matter how deep in the dark you go, no matter how much despair and grief you carry, and no matter how all it seems lost, we still go right to those depths and like allow them to be there, allow ourselves to feel the depth of our human misery, the depth of our human pain body, the depth of our convoluted mental projections that are against one another, which is against the self ultimately. You know, our ability to really unify our heart space. Oh, and I had this really cool thought about how, like, so we know, like, in this idea of almost reinterpreting from a place of unity, like some of the scripture, and like how like the altar of God is really like our heart, like our own little heart is like the God source. And then we talk about Christ, we talk about the energy of Christ. And I was like, the Immaculate Conception is the birthing of Christ. I'm like, so you know those moments you have when you're just like that, those awake, any of us can have any number of awakening moments where we just feel in absolute awe, when we just feel in absolute unity, when we just feel like, how could anyone ever feel hatred toward one another? How could anyone ever want to kill or hurt one another? And like you cry. So those moments that bring you to such ecstatic bliss that they bring tears. I'm like, that's in my random noodling of thought form yesterday, that's what the Immaculate Conception is. The Immaculate Conception is the moment we feel the Christ, which is the unity piece, which is those moments where we're just merged with all that is and the glory of the beauty of it all. And we're just like, oh my God, I'm alive, you know? So yeah, that's like a weird thing that just came in. I know. I was saying this to a friend yesterday. It's like so many of peeps are in energetically, it feels like a rock and a hard place. And we're like believing and things aren't really uncovering. Where are you, Megan, in the world noodling? Noodling. I said noodling to a non-YouTube friend, and they were like, "What?" I'm like, "Noodling." You know? Let's remember, guys, we've got our own little thing going on here. Oh, brilliant. Rock block in the heart. Saskatoon. Ugh. I've got to say, I've got some family and people. You're from North Bay, Ontario. Ontario. I'm trying to like imagine where North Bay is. It sounds so familiar. I'm like imagining because it says bay. I'm like, are you in was it like a lake area? So, and again, this is kind of like a weird thing, but mm, right now, this is pure intuition. Pure intuition, you guys. I'm taking a lot of shots. It's that the west, it's like coming over from the west, and then it's like coming over from the east, and there's like a melting point synergy in the UK in this little island, in this little nothingness island that all the white people here decided to go out and conquer the world. So there's like a lot of vortexual energy. So it's almost like some of us are just in really dense clear outs. And again, the intuition is aligning it to actual earth density. So it's not just the density of the beings, it's actually the kind of the whole area. And I'm getting that there's the waves are coming through really, really powerful from the west coast. I think they come over from like the both sides and almost like weather patterns. But you can start to feel them and connect with them, and you can start to feel the waves as like different this is what I'm starting to feel it as, like overlapping, and it's happening really fast, but we're getting to a new level of alignments. So there's like a whole bunch of alignments. They're like shoo, shoo, shoo. They keep kind of shape shifting and moving about. All of it is for the purpose of co-creating in these higher vibrational feeling spaces. And there's a whole bunch of us collectively who somehow miraculously seem to understand how we're doing this and what we're doing and da da da. And then, pardon me, we'll be guided to sort of come together in various ways. Because another like theme right now is for sure community. And so this is a community for all to love, you know? And a lot of us, I think, are finding that respite or that community um, because there's still a lot of density. I think that's the best word for it. Just clumping in that kind of oppressive, hard, angry, low, boo, and I'm not okay. And there's always discernment. We must be willing always, and I say this for myself, especially. um, be incredibly discerning about our I guess just our own personal intentions and like really trusting ourselves and not letting ourselves be distracted and pushed and pulled and know that we love to give and know that we love to share, but not being like I don't yeah, not being manipulated anymore in the fact that like, no, you don't. You're something different. You're different all the time. Oh, you guys. Hey, Divine Sight. How are you? So you messaged me about the hamstring, and the reason it was especially interesting to me is that there's like one hamstring on my right side, and I never feel my hamstrings either. As in, since I since I was practicing the splits when I was 12, and practicing really hard because I'm a disciplined dancer. Yeah. So since then, like I never ever have hamstring issue, and it's not like an issue, but I feel it, and I'm like, whoa, what's that all about? And then just by chance, there's no such thing. Divine Sight was like, hey, like for example, hamstrings, and I'm like, he. So that's again pure alignment. La 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 la. We are like magic pixels coming together to bring in the grand picture masterpiece. We're all sorry, I don't mean to like mock out of that voice at all. I'm actually in my mind and heart reading it like it's so true. And we are, and like we as the individual, the masterpiece, the whole is the masterpiece. This whole life existence is so beautiful. I keep getting to these different points where I'm like, it's almost emotion thinking about like some of the stuff and some of the experiences and things that I lived through and worked through, and like looking or feeling into my past and just being like, why? Why did I do that? Or like, or, oh my geez, like how did I get to this place? And like, yay, brilliant. Well done, MJ. Like, but like, it's like all of the potential trauma of a child that was neglected, or any number of horrible things that kids can go through to have trauma, and then like having life as a race, like running away from the trauma, but still facing it in different ways, and then finally be like, I can't face it anymore, or like, no, rather, you're exhausted, you can't run away from it, so you like fall and collapse, and then yeah, basically it consumes you, and or you consume it, you allow, because this is so often my experience when I'm having to do some hardcore like forgiveness vibrashe, or yeah, forgiveness usually is one of those, like I think I've shared this with you guys before. I'll like meditate and like sit with it, and I'll actually bring the whole situation, all the people included, into my creation. Like, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. And so if it's all mine, if I created it all and I'm gonna love myself, then I gotta love it all. And the pain of it is what I'm gonna forgive. The pain in it in me and the story of it is what I'm gonna forgive. It's not that forgiveness is justifying bad behavior. Forgiveness isn't saying, "Oh, it's okay to be total douchebags to one another cuz the good empath people, they'll forgive us all." Like, no. We do have to continue to be in our power and not tolerate corruption, lies, blah 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 blah, and start to empower one another of like, the truth. You can feel the truth in the resonance field. We are one, like really tune into that, and don't be fooled by the people that lie. Oh, divine sight. Well, that makes perfect sense because I definitely had some shifts in the father energy. And definitely there's now a shift there. Oh my geez, like this is just so, and it's so true, that it's literally like in these last maybe few days that I'm getting this real like like out of this sort of depressed state. I'm finally getting these like, just not don't, trust me, I don't want to go out and do a fucking marathon, but like I'm slowly getting this sense of like, maybe I'll get back into surfing, or like, yeah, maybe I should do that. And like I'm feeling like I want to move forward again, but it's been low. And there hasn't related to the father's teachings, yeah. And again, these last few months have been massively looking at these last layers of distortion around men and relationships and stuff like that. Elf herself. Hello, Jolene. Like, shh, Molly, like, God, honestly. That way, it's really nice to be around people that actually do the work within themselves. I'm like, I know. And I think other people think that we're not going to catch on that they're not doing the work. And it's like, oh, Oh, sorry, we're not gonna vibrate together. Like if you're not sitting with your emotion, if you're not meditating, if you're not feeling stuff, if you're not honoring what you're feeling and sitting, and being, it's like we want to keep it up. We want to keep up the dream life. Um, and yeah, I so often can see that slight gap in people's mindscape where they're like, I'm doing my manifested life. I'm doing my journal. I'm doing my da, 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 but they're not looking at the emotional patterns. They're not really looking more deeply at the ups and down flow of their life cycles. They're not looking at the people that trigger them. They're not looking more deeply at what's really the feeling behind um, me when I'm talking about that person. What's really the feeling that's coming up when so and so is saying this? They're just always perpetually focused on the outside, thus always focused on being in fear of judgment, right? And so the fear of judgment is such a huge thing for the empath and sensitive, because that's the enmeshment wound. That's the thing that we do. We overcompensate for people because we can feel that they're uncomfortable. So we overcompensate, but the thing is their discomfort is already hiding behind. So really what we're doing is we're just letting people get to that place where they're also going to realize, oh shit, I've been doing this all myself, right? I've been oh hey, Capitular. Thanks for the $20, man. Hey guys, coming out of my castle. Best. Why am I getting triggered? Oh, it is then. I've manifested small things like food sales. For some reason, I'm remembering that lovely expression from Abraham Hicks about how when it comes to manifestation, there's no difference between like a button and a castle. It's only our vibrational output to it. And that's making me think of how even like I manifest small things. And I highlight that because I'm like that too. Well, I manifested like this thing. I manifested this thing, but I didn't give a shit about those things. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, so when it comes to the shit that really matters, we tend to fixate more and have more like, yeah, and we have more polarity swings. So as in when it going, great, 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 we're awesome. But then as soon as it swings back, we have huge reactions and we potentially like go into doubt, right? So I'm also aware that through this, so as we ease off the high intensity of this phase, uh, um, I am getting that we will truly. I know you're like, don't you dare tell me that things are gonna get better. Don't you dare tell me. Like, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not that we won't have the challenges. It's just that increasingly now from here on out, there will be some relief. That's all I can energetically feel into is that none of this, we know none of the actual external manifestation shit really matters, but it's just that our bodies, a lot of the patterns that we've been in review, a lot of the shitty sticky tar that we've been wading through in the residue in these last few months of like, all of that is just going to melt away miraculously. And we're going to then keep moving. We're going to be like, oh my God, it lifted. It's all gone. I'm feeling lighter again. I'm feeling free again. It does work. We did transform fear. Like that. I just spat all over you guys. Oh gosh, I don't know what's up. Hey, Crispy. Hi, Jazz. How are you? Did I miss something? Did I miss a quote? Understanding peace. They are getting better all the time. Megan asked if I was Leo. No, I'm an Aries, though. My fellow fire signs, I'm an Aries. God, I don't know. You guys bring this crazy lady out of me. I swear to God. So Jazz has asked if light is, in fact, a particle, what lights our dreams. So right away, what I'm hearing is just consciousness. Because in a weird sense, everything is just fractals of light on a spectrum contained with the way we see the spectrum of light is beyond the veil of darkness. Um, so everything that we're experiencing as an image of self is consciousness. Particles of light are, yes, to do with matter and also to do with like the density of matter, the spectrum. If that, I don't know, maybe. It's like, yeah. Oh, hey, Alpha Self. Raising Air Sagittarius as well. Hey, Eddie. Uh, Elf. Sometimes I find that humans are addicted to the sufferings. Yeah, yeah. And I can testify to that because I've recently experienced that weird dichotomy of like, I know that this isn't healthy for me, and yet I'm sad that I'm walking away from it. Like, I'm sad that I'm not gonna get to feel all this intense pain anymore. As in, we're addicted to our suffering. We're addicted to our victimhood. It makes us feel fucking special. Sorry, I know that would seem harsh to somebody who is genuinely in their depression, but in a weird polarity, I'm not, it's like, oh my geez, we have to have so much love for self and so much compassion for self when you're in the depths of despair and when you're in the glory of bliss. And yet, right there in the middle is just that, and all of it is yours. And like, yes, we, the self, have to choose. Wait a minute. I'm going over. This is why I talk about patterns in the book. Hey, Capitilla is bringing in the money. Bringing in the money for MJ. MJ's going to have a good day. She might even do a little eBay shopping. I don't know. But no, I'm definitely going to be saving that money for rent this month. Trust. So you have to go at this alone. It's never worked being in a relationship. So I can't speak for everyone. I'm still noodling there. I do feel there's a fairly substantial review, certainly when it comes to romance and relationships. I think the review is to do with our new points of attraction with regards to self-love, self-care, and self-nurture, as more and more of us bridge into that greater care and authenticity from this new perspective, or evolved or enlightened or whatever have you, or just more aware perspective. Then it will create the disparity of where the other is still carrying the bass tones. So the bass tones in other, and as we continue to move, those are also going to come up. That's why I'm aware that like we're not alone, and us being able to sit here in the random corners of the internet and share what we're sharing with one another is incredibly powerful, because we're just getting ready so that we can also just be there for more and more people who start to break down. People in my reality, and that's just the work that I do. People are breaking down. People are having a hard time. People are watching a fucking YouTube video about any number of things and having their ego death, having their dark night of the soul, and it's not from this weird perspective. It's from a perspective of, oh my god, I'm gonna die, because like, as in, what do I want to say, these are the people that go off the deep end and kill themselves because there's so much of a gap to close. And yet the more and more and more of us that keep talking about it, it's gonna help. It's gonna help people not feel so alone. It's gonna help people realize that it's okay. Like, God, we're all right. Even the fucking murderers, you know? I know, and some, even people in the light love community might not want to hear that. Yeah. Even our dictators and even the people that are causing the most harm, we have to find love for that too. And that's the depth for me of the Fearless Life Guide. The depth is not to just be able to love my little love community. The depth of the love is to love the world, the whole world, and nothing but the world. So help me God. shiznit. Some shiznits, and I couldn't agree more. Kuda, whoa! Eh. But I look at it all as raw experience and do my best not to judge as good or bad and receive it as a blessing. I agree. Same. That's all we can do, right? Laugh out loud, Polly. I'm glad, Jazz. I'm glad when you guys let me know that you're also having a little giggle. Little giggle over there. I don't even remember what I said, but I thought it was in the moment where it was coming out of me. I'm like, oh my God, that's funny. Or like, that's good. I guess we just all need a little spiritual entertainment because the world is fucked. Just kidding. It's not the world, it's us. But here's the thing. We have the potential to change. We can change everything. We have the power to change within ourselves, you know? That's the beauty. That's why most of us end up doing this stuff, because we actually kind of noodle and then have these experiences which help us to anchor in these transformational, and then once we step into the new and have that like really profound and visceral transformational experience, it's no going back. And there's just this there's this sort of like fire, or like a match under your arse, just going like, come on, share. And you're like, guys, did you know that we totally can fucking shapeshift? Did you know that we can totally manifest our own reality? And you're like, yeah, fucking awesome. But then there's other people who are like, how dare you? How dare you think you can just be free and happy when I've got all this fear shit going on? I know. I'm sorry. We are the children. I love you guys so much. I just had like an image. I just looked up and saw Jazz says, "Entertain me, damn it," and then roll on the floor laughing. And I literally just had an image of me with a little flute and like, well, and actually I'm wearing quite like colorful stuff right now, but like just entertain me and be like, okay, and like, and like actually being able to entertain you. Although I gotta say, like between us as a collective, fuck yeah, we have some good celebration across the nation. I'm sure of it. I'm sure we got some musicians in the room. I'm sure we got some yogi people in the room. I'm sure we've got like, I don't know why I'm thinking this, hairdressers in the room. Oh, by the way, Love and Grace, are you still there? How'd your hair turn out? That's coming to me. It is Love and Grace, right? Reached out about the old hair duties. And yeah. Yeah, Jazz, Brazen Air, Capitular Revel, pardon. Oh, hey, Susanna. Oh, Susanna, see another synchronicity. So Susanna was saying about birth, a universe for new earth. Yeah. And then there's this energy, but we're in the contracting in the birth canal, right? It's like every time we think we're kind of in the clear, another fucking contraction, we're like, ah! But actually that's why it's getting so imminent. That's why it's getting so close, this like like really, really stepping in, hence having to shed, hence having these maybe different types of explosions in our lives to make it to show us really clearly what we want to let go of and what we want to move forward with. And now we're here and we're like, okay, ready to move forward. Okay, we're moving forward now, right? But we're not taking a lot of these suffering patterns, which we're realizing we used to be fucking addicted to. We're not taking them with us. We don't want to. The truth is we don't want to. It's just taking us quite a few cycles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25 years, whatever, to sort of outwork those dense energies, those base tones of the human collective consciousness field. So we are that one collective consciousness field. We just have our own unique purpose as empaths, for one, who can understand what we're talking about, because inside our field of awareness, we transform energy. We move energy from one frequency to another, essentially, by the power of our love. I know. I never imagined that ever in my whole ever life that I'd be sitting at 4 a.m. saying these things, which around the times of my early awakenings, this is the kind of shit I would just stream journal and be like, God damn, there's some juicy nuggets. I wonder if this is like relevant to humanity at all. Because it felt good, right? It felt blissful. And it was only my divisive ego that was like, "Shh, who do you think you are?" Right? You can't speak your truth. That kind of stuff is only for people like Jesus or Mother Teresa. You're a privileged white person. You need to step in line and do what you're told. Well, we can tell that that didn't work out, did it? No, no. Because I believed that people genuinely care. And apparently there's lots of us that do. But apparently there's a lot of people who are still more concerned about how their life looks because it feels good for the ego that they're upholding and attaching their identity to. I think a lot of us have learned some pretty fucking brutal but awesome lessons about energy and about the fact that we really can feel and sense what people are thinking and feeling. And maybe not specifically, although here's why I think this is awesome that this community is building, that we're having more of these conversations. And I know Aluna talks about it, and actually, her and a couple of the tarot readers and astrology readers are the only people I listen to. But there is a connection around that. How we reflect back our authenticity to one another is also how we reflect back, or not reflect back. So, how we reflect one another is like, I see it as also how we are as the sovereign individual. This is how we're seeing into ourselves more clearly, obviously. I'm speaking specifically about our unique, like, psychic gifts or intuitive abilities and intuitive gifts, which are kind of us unlocking more of those superpower things. It's us talking about it, right? Um, I don't something. Thanks, guys. Real cool words. That's a lot of like phonetic sounds. Susanna, non-binary piano idiot savant, diagnostist, autistic. I could say with that, I feel like there's actually a lot of information in there. But what is it referring to? Capit Capitular has love for everyone watching. Thank you. Ah, la 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 la. What is that song? In the night? No. Um. La 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 la. What is that? Why am I? And I'm seeing Kermit the Frog, but it's not a Muppet song, is it? A genie. Ooh, I like this, Megan. A genie out of the loving lamp. Divine sight. Pied Piper. Pied Piper. Something about luring the children. And isn't there a random? Is there a shadow version of the Pied Piper? I remember watching something when this guy named John St. Julian was exposing Russell Brand as being part of the, I don't know, the MK ruling classes or whatever. It's funny, I don't follow any of those stories anymore. Again, I just can't. I ever since I met Sasha Stone, I find it really difficult to even like engage in any kind of celebrity worshipy kind of conversation. Like, we should all achieve. We should all be like, we should compare ourselves to. We should da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm not sure. Only because now with certain awarenesses, I'm like, did you sell out? Like, as in serious, and I hate, and I'm not like fond of that necessarily, but like, there's a lot of people, and increasingly, who are like showing up in this world of mainstream media or whatever as like a new idol sensation. Idols. They're created, they're manufactured to keep people unworthy and disempowered, essentially. And I'm not saying these people don't have their own like unique and special awareness, but like, it's hard to say how many are genuinely like desiring to support and help uplift humanity versus who are just wanting to be like, look at me. And I think we're getting better at telling the difference just by resonance, you know? And I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people in that world who are starting to call it out. as in they were part of some shit as well, and they're being like, yeah, it's nasty. Yeah, it's nasty. It's a nasty business. As in, oh yeah, that was kind of yesterday's share, which I never even got to, but like, oh, everything that's really glamorous and like, this is that lie. Anything that, including our spiritual channels, including also love of a Jersey, but like this whole like life is so fantastic and we're the glamorous, happy people. Anything that is going that far to the extreme to make life seem like this golden red carpet, I'm like, what's underneath it? What's it trying to hide? And then apparently it's hiding some really nasty, dark stuff like human sex trafficking and satanic ritual abuse to traumatize young people so that they can use and corrupt and manipulate their mind to enslave us to want to keep buying stuff because we're never fucking good enough. Because I was never going to be Britney Spears, you guys. Hold on, I saw Down to Earth Dad. 100%. That was pretty much what my share yesterday was about, but I'm not recommending you go watch it because it's like a 2.5 hour ramble. And I never even really quite got there where I expressed precisely that. The down to earth dad, and there's a resonance with once pursuing the life of an actor, and for us empaths, it was even you can feel the desperation of other actors. You can feel the weird ego trip of directors. You can feel the submissive scuffling of a lot of assistants, and it's an industry of people trying to prove themselves. In essence, not all the time though. I do believe in genuine artistry. I just believe that it's becoming more and more rare. And I feel that sadly a lot of the proclaimed artistry that we've been able and or been exposed to in the world, it at one time did come from a very pure and creative place, and then of course it was sort of used as a means to corrupt, flipped around on its head, and or also what I'm seeing is somehow the turn of that, the revolution of that is that now that we're becoming aware of the programming, and now that we're actually as a collective talking about the fact that we're going to outwork it from within ourselves, energetically speaking, this is why I can feel the falsity or the hologram of the matrix illusion. I can feel it starting to disperse and come undone. It's coming apart. The nature, the fabric, the construct of our reality, because minds are being blown open, essentially. That's blowing open, i.e., disclosure, shining light into the deepest areas of corruption of our world as we know it. So, more and more of us are going to want genuine, talented musicians. More and more of us are going to want genuine, I'm trying to describe myself, authentic entertainment. You know, I humans are going to want quality things that don't enslave people and don't hurt the planet. This is just, it's written in the fucking stars, you guys. This stuff that we feel, that we know, that we're now reflecting back to one another is written in the planets. It's written in the stars. This energy that we're tuning to and have been for years and years and years, this is what's going to keep happening. Like when I don't know, I was 11 or 12 when I, maybe 10, when I really made the connection that the beef or steak thing that I was eating on my plate, that was the cow that I would like, right? And that it was when I made that connection, you're like, so like having these awakenings, and this is something I've always like reminded or soothed myself when I was like in these like intense storms, before I had any kind of way to kind of rationalize or understand what I was going through. um Lost it. No idea. It'll come back if it's meant to. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Oh yeah, baby. Fifth is in the house. That's right. Yeah, like it's all one thread. We're all on this like timeline, and every once in a while we get to these little knots that we want to outwork, right? Yes, vegan for 5 years now, and one of you guys went vegan with me for the vegan love course, and, um, recently he messaged saying like, "Oh, I had, like, a burger or whatever after it would have been 3 months of a dominant vegan diet with maybe the occasional, like, I don't know, pizza or maybe had, like, 1 pizza in 3 months." I don't even think pizza was a thing. Anywho, you know what I mean though? Like, almost really dominantly vegan, and then I just got a random message saying like, "Oh my god, I had a burger and I don't know what's up, but, like, my whole day got thrown off. It felt, like, heavy and dumb, and he kept tripping everywhere," and I was like, "Well," and I'm not like, "Well, I told you so. You shouldn't be eating meat. It's gonna fuck you." It was just his experience, and if anything, that's I was like, "Oh, really?" And inside, I was like, "He." Only because 'cause I'm, like, more vegan, more love, less slaughter, less killing, but I don't mean to judge people who still eat meat, honestly. I get it, and it's people have been doing that for a long, long time, so I do understand, right? I noticed that when I would eat meat, I'd get very depressed. Interesting. Well, and because I can only go back to my childhood because I stopped eating meat when I was like 11 and 12. But, and I say 11 and 12 because I literally have no specific accurate memory of exactly the age I was, if you know what I mean. I remember the year and the context of my life at the time. Anyway, um, yeah, I had really bad digestion as a child, as in, like, I never had a proper poo. So and for me, and I had the self-loathing stuff that started when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And then I'm gonna talk. I'll address that as well. And then what else? So yeah, bad digestion, kind of depressed kid, right? And like I'd go crazy, I'd have bonker crazy shit. And then turned veggie, joined a dance company, and my life turned around. I became one of those like scrawny, and like I had really good digestion, and I felt really good. And that was the beginning of my learning about manifestation because I transformed my body. And then I also learned, then that was another time in my life around puberty where I realized that you can start taking on the projections of others. So, and that's what I've noodled on. Da, 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 da. So my intuition. So first, and because this is just because of like my historical stuff with body and diet and food. At the rate I'm gaining weight, I need to stop eating. Period. Haha. So like, and this is something I'd noodle with it. Because there's a few things coming up for me intuitively around what could be impacting that depending on the environment that we're in. And then also, in fairness, like all the self love stuff, which is deep, but it is relentless and it has to keep going. Each cycle, each will come up and show us still the density that we carry in the body. The body is no different, no separate from anything else around us. We just don't realize the extent to which we're programmed to believe this food is good, this food is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is da 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 da. So we're constantly swinging and swinging against our own judgment, and then ridiculously trying to achieve something unachievable because we're not in alignment with our soul. And so it's the alignment with our soul piece that allows us to continue to show up as we are. And then certainly in my personal reality, I am super duper disciplined with my mind. Every time I catch myself energetically going into some kind of hate or self-loathing pattern, I catch myself and I give myself a hug. And I know this is like really, I feel embarrassed sharing this with you guys, but like, yeah, I'm like really embarrassed, but like legit, I will stand in front of the mirror and like make shapes and tell myself I'm gorgeous and tell myself I look like a Victoria's Secret model. And that literally, that's the thought I think, because that's how it feels good to think about myself rather than my social imprinting or my family imprinting of da, 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 of you're fat and ugly and you're never going to amount to anything. And don't you dare even think that you could try. Success and joy is for those skinny happy people over there, for those rich people whose parents are together, for those talented girls over there that ace their science exams. Good happy life is for them, never for you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's just taken a whole lot of inner grit and inner isolation to be like, I do fucking deserve it. I do get to show up how I want. I do get to be what I desire, and ain't nobody gonna hold me back. Yeah. That's the kind of, and life starts to get so good that you don't ever want to go back. I don't care what carrots people dangle in my face at this point. Well, and in fairness, I've had the whole people dangle shit in my face and it hasn't turned out well, so I'm not even interested because I'm like, your carrot is an illusion. Bah! It's like, why would we? Oh my gosh, divine sight, right? Like that is legit. Um a lot of, I think, the control stuff around our bodies is because we don't feel like we deserve to be here. And then we have sort of other less than compassionate people telling us to get over yourself and, stop crying, just get over yourself, and you're like, okay, like I'll just get over myself and carry on doing all the stupid fucking shit that everyone else is doing and pretend that that's just fine. Okay, sure. No. you know? Chic, bonjour, mon ami, comment ça va? It is though, like, and I kid you not, I was like, I had that. I had big, powerful businessman who told me about all of this awesome, cool shit he did, and that he was gonna make me loads of money and all to love, and that people would know me, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And then 6 months later, I realized that I was being totally fucking controlled and manipulated, and then I was starting to lose myself in the process. And I was like, well, I've basically changed my whole life around buying into this guy. And in fairness, there was a really helpful transaction. I'm actually not dissing on the guy at all. Like, it was helpful and I really, really appreciate it. But when it came down to like, I'm going to make you a star, something wasn't right. Plus, I'm like, well, and that's always been my thing. It's like digital airbrushing or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but that's not you. I'm like, how does that feel good if it's not real? So it's sort of the same with this. I'm like, it's not real. It isn't helping. It wasn't creating anything. And it's like, so it doesn't matter. If I'm putting on a fucking facade, trying to fucking cater to some corporate bullshit, then I'm not going to be real. So it won't matter if I'm making 100 grand a month. And I won't be a joyful woman, and I'll be a puppet fucking whatever for this dude. So I knew at that point, I was like, deep down, I'm like, no, I'm better off like poor and on my own than like being a slave to these people who just want to use me. Mm. I feel that we all have those similar-ish lessons, don't we? It has been a long day. It's been a long day and an intense day. Like, the energies are ridiculous. you know. Thank you. You make me feel human. Oh my gosh, Chic. This is what's so weird, you guys. I'm like, what happened to humanity? Because to me, what somebody said, something's like, oh, you make me feel normal or something. And I'm like, or you make me feel human. I'm like, I know. I feel human. Like, I feel like a decent human, and like life's high. Like, even though there's lots of pain and intensity, and there's a lot of times where a lot of us, I think, feel like we'd rather just not be here. I'm like, you guys are a bit weird and harsh. I don't. But like, I think it's improving, and just the fact that we all found each other and we're still alive. I'm like, yes. And then there's more and more of us making sense of all of this stuff, right? And the waves are grounding. The waves are grounding in this love heart vibration, because we each time, every single one of us is this divine spark of creative potential. We're grounding in love in lieu of the fear, in the face of the fear. the laser I feel that, Elf. And the laser I would say as well is something quite unique to the empath. I don't This is one of those things that I'm aware that people don't see it. This is something that I've started to become aware of in these last couple of years working like working with other empaths in these situations, is that more and more of us are aware that we really have lived quite a different experience in this world via this perspective we have, in this feeling sensate perspective, right? Where we're feedbacking off of and tuning from within, often being knocked back. But fortunately, because of the time spell that we're in, we were born with parents and we live in an age of information where we were able to access our teachers, or we were able to access our brothers and sister via the web, and because a lot of us resonate with that. We're still the crazies, like a lot of people that approach me or message me are like, you're the only person that I can talk about this stuff with. You're the only person that da 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 da. Da. And it's like, right, okay. So we need to keep the conversation going, because there is new paradigm activity happening all over the world. Megan, I just wants to give a big group hug for everybody. I'm actually really going for it, really hugging my computer now. Because I'm just like, this is it, you know? Um, the laser vision, we're reflecting back. This is part of our, I guess you could say, psychic ability. We see a veil. So what one person might see is really rather different than what an empath might see in a situation, in what they're holding and what they're carrying. Somebody might be like, oh my god, that person is really, really lovely. And an empath might be like, yeah, they're really nice. Because they're picking up on something completely different, right? Oh, copy tiller. I know. Rebel. I felt like that most of my life in Bernos, but I thanks to you. Thanks to you, girls. I've really this is my favorite time of day. Is just showing up and having chats with you guys and knowing that we're onto something. Because I feel like we're all gonna get a similar shift, shake up. But so we're before our trauma is all the shakeups led to death and persecution and burning. You're burning out. Now, weirdly, the title turn is the fact that even though we're feeling the fear of the anticipation of these events happening, it's not. It's gonna be something more loving. It's gonna be that they, instead of chopping off our heads, they start kissing our arses. It's gonna be, instead of shaming and blaming, they're gonna be begging for our forgiveness. I don't know, that could be just in my ego head, but still. um, there's an element of that for sure. I've seen it actually in my own paradigm, the flip of reversals of the people who used to be the cray cray, depressed, horrible, horrible witchies or whatever, and now they're sorting their life out and embodying their truth and being creative and making a living doing what they love. And now, weirdly, it's like the persecution energy, it's the narcissistic, it's the talking behind your back thinking you're get away with it. A lot of those people now are hitting up against things like depression. And I remember when I heard that, because it wasn't exposed, of course, they didn't tell people about it. I just found out and I was like, wow, haven't the tables turned? You know, that this is a person that, anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the tables turn. LOL guillotine. And that's really weird because, like, yesterday I was getting a really visceral memory of a beheading situation, which was super fun. You were all there. We all got to watch. But at least, well, oh my lord. But at least I feel like I can actually laugh about, at least I faced it and forgiven it and laughed at the fact that so many of us have just, like, with our love light, galactic force or universal or, whatever fucking energy frequency belts that we're coming in with. We came in and the humans were like, off with their head. Yeah, get rid of them. These how dare you think that you could actually come here and teach and be powerful and like we come in love, we come in peace. No, you don't. Get out, get out. So then there's a little bit of buildup of trauma. That's why I call it the backlog, the karmic backlog. And I encourage people to noodle with that idea. It's that the ancestry timeline and then multiple running fractalization. So all of that is an aspect of self that we're pulling in through the emotional field. And I blabber on about all of this, but I know you guys get it, is that we just don't go deep enough in the emotional field. We don't realize that we stay within a frequency belt until we don't. I just know that there's some of you who resonate with my depth because I can feel that you're also, that's you hang out in the void, basically. I don't actually believe many of us are meant to do that. I don't believe that all of us should do that. I think that there are all of us with unique gifts, just like somebody who's really, really good at building stairs probably isn't going to show up and teach a yoga class, nor will I do any kind of heavy machine labor. Because they're just fucking cute, right? Like it would just is shift. So, although I'm thinking, oh, man, I feel really good. So much to dig through. Oh, for sure. For sure, as a witch. And or just like random peasant. I have one of my lives, I remember just riding a horse everywhere all the time. But then I got caught. So yeah. Um and straight up, if any of you guys are like me, this happened in multiple lifetimes, and it also happened to our man. It also happened to our male counterparts. So oftentimes we historically talk of the witch hunts as being simply a kind of act against women, but it was women in their entire communities. That's why whole villages were burned. And that's why a lot of men have hardcore inquisition and persecution memory, and they're also having it be repeated. A lot of the men, not just, well, yeah, in this context, men that I've worked with, they have often been through a massive, like, where their governments went for them for as in something like creating some kind of herbal medicine from cannabis, and then an inquisition. The government went in and attacked and blamed, and it was corrupt, basically. And I lived, and because they survived, I started to put the pieces together and realize that this inquisition energy is for any of us as the light worker community, but it's not about men and women, but that's a divide and conquer tactic of the controller system. Oh, right. I was a male in that lifetime. Boom, see. And I know because I've had like y- where the past life comes up in reflection with other, and yeah, they were so, and because a lot of the context was that when we were taken and or tortured or brutalized or raped or whatever, they had to watch, pardon me, and so they have grief and shame and remorse, and also sometimes and then they were often killed, because if they exhibited that grief, they would have been shamed, and if they weren't killed, they were certainly shamed from the community. And hence why there's this weird sense of all of us being ripped apart. We were ripped apart and traumatized, and it's taken us, I don't know about you guys and your cosmic memories, but like I bounced. I had to reset my soul, you could say, some of my essence. I went into the Syrian star system to reset myself and then come back more powerful than ever. Just being like, we're gonna get these fucking humans awoke, vibrating in their hearts so they stop fucking killing each other. My God. Anyway, love and light. um right, because I swear a lot of us might res with that I like back to back incarnation, reincarnation, back to back, and was just taken out every time. Never got past the age of 33. Hence where I knew that when the year of my my 33rd year is the year I took the leap, and that's when I started to get these epic new energy downloads of like, "Oh my god, I've never lived I've never lived past this point before." And that's why it all felt so, like, exciting, and I couldn't sleep because I was just like, "I'm still here," i.e., like, the feeling of a rebirth and resurrection is real. I know, Megan. Well, and this is the thing, yes, I feel, and that's the truth of feeling. You feel what you feel. It happened. It's in your consciousness field. It's in your memory bank. This is where I'm like, again, the system is clever with that regard. It's like, it's just your imagination. It's not real. This is the only thing that's real. I'm like, but then when I started to really go in to do the cosmic healing, I realized that everything in my field is my memory. It's not just my imagination. It's and or you could say that your imagination and your memory, there's no difference in essence, because all of it is just the stories that you're telling yourself to have these incarnate experiences. Yeah, it's in your DNA. We're carrying it with us. That's why we can't not create the shadow. That's why people can't run away from themselves. They can't run away from the work, as it were. They'll continue to repeat a pattern on a certain frequential level until they jump off. And that's where I've lived this life where I've just kept jumping, jumping, jumping. And each circle of a kind of group of people are like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, there's all this stuff that comes up. But like, and then increasingly you just don't talk to people about it because you're like, you're not going to get anywhere, da, da, da. And you're just like, I just have to keep going because I have to show people, because whatever I'm following is invisible to most people. You get me? You get me? They had the wounded world too. See, yeah, that's what I mean about like soul group. I'm like, do you think it's just by chance that so many of us have had so many similar experiences, especially such unique ones, like feeling like alien, you know? I would say so. Oh yeah. Are we all a soul group? For the most part. There'll still be a kind of expansion and contraction, as in all of us will continue to morph and grow and change. And the soul group in essence looks way different than what we'd imagine, like a family. There's none of that same shit anymore. It's an ever flowing breathes. It breathes for sure. And we honor the life death cycle, so there's no need for control and manipulation, right? And so the soul group has more to do with our energetic intentions. It has more to do with how we vibrate and resonate, and the fact that we come together, often together here, we're in resonance. So it's a resonance that, it's just love, pretty much. It's just love. And a community like this, the reason you res with it is because of there's so much love for all people. And yet the weird paradox is that other people haven't unnecessarily perceived it that way. And or other people would hit up against the places where we're not still loving ourselves, right? Thus no need for the non-choice. Yeah, like, well, you can't make the choice if you're not aware. Yes, right. Yeah, that is an imprint that a lot of divine souls have. They didn't reset. They just jump back in. They jump back in. That's why so many souls feel so lost, because they are. They are like, humanity is lost in a certain sense when it comes to the knowingness of the truth of their divinity, because we've been thrown we've signed off, right, on this enslavement grid, and we've just jumped back in and back in and back in trying to fix the fucking trauma, but we can't. Like the fixing isn't obvious. It's um beyond the veil. So we keep coming back to the earth realm as a physical body, thinking we're going to fix it here, but we can't. We have to fix it in our heart. We have to fix it in our soul. We have to bring our soul back, and we have to just be ownership. We just have to be kind of as epic and light filled as we can feel into, basically. Well, we're not far off mushroom season. Mushrooms are a really nice way to reset. And or today, hi, set an intention. It's the solstice today. Set an intention and intend to reset, intend to really shed and release all of the density and false space tones and step into your light. And we are. And we we are doing it. You are doing it. Oh yeah, that was a lovely insight I had as well around like just throughout the years on this weird awakening path is that um I always remember realizing I was like, well, it's not like MJ was like, okay, and then I'm gonna have right, okay, so I'm gonna plan my epic life. I'm gonna have these spiritual awakenings when I'm 19 years old, and then I did, and I didn't plan that shit, right? So I'm like, I always had that little angel on my shoulder, being like, you're not in control of this. The awakening spontaneously happened to you way, way beyond the veil. So, what makes you think that these awakenings aren't going to keep happening to everybody else? If you truly believe in unity, if you truly understand the essence of oneness, then if something is happening to us, then wouldn't it be happening at some point to all of humanity? That we walk the hero's path, that we become the Christed consciousness, which our bro Jesus was attempting to teach us way back when. We just decided to crucify him. And now we're like, oh shit. It's like enslaving people. Shit. Mass genocide. Shit. Yeah. We need to love all of it. Yeah, we create chaos, we restore order, and that's something I've experienced. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but like random people come into your world and then they like bounce out and their whole world starts to be in chaos. So it's like a yoga teacher when you have people in your class crying up the ends, you're like, I know, and I don't mean that in a morbid way, but I'm like, yeah, when somebody's life is starting to spin out of control, I'm like, here we go. Transformation time. Yeah. Your life is falling apart. Let's get together and hang out and have talks. Like, my life has fallen apart many, many times. That's why I do what I do. But in truth, I do actually feel like that's a relevant thing that's part of the distortion of our culture lost the sacred connection. So we all deeply yearn for these kind of sacred connections. And what I realized just by looking at my path was like, we naturally have cycles and initiations and rhythms. And like the fact that we don't honor them, the fact that we just think we're meant to be slaves and find a job and stick to that job forever. And maybe one day you'll get a holiday. It's like, fuck that shit, right? So it's like remembering all of this grandness that we are in the truth of our hard love vibrashe, and then living. And here is like the juice of life. Like the large majority, if not like all the people I work with or like come across or randomly meet, people really don't fucking want for much. We're all sold these lives. And I don't know about you guys, but if you talk to just the normal Jojo, Riri, Mama, I don't know what I'm saying. Most people like literally are just like, oh, I'd really like to like have enough money to eat. Oh, I'd really like to be able to maybe buy my own house one day. Like, oh my God. We live in a world where the majority of the people can't afford food, water, and just the basic fucking necessities. I'm like, something's gotta give. And I'm pretty sure it's the divine feminine is gonna roar her loving heart all over the world and vomit compassion onto humans so they actually start to feel for one another rather than compete with one another. You know what I mean? I'm so thankful for you guys. I'm so thankful when I see things like I don't know what I saw, like facts, truth, LOL, vomiting compassion. I'm like, right. So there's actually people in the world who understand what I'm saying. People be like, mhm. And that will be our Mother Earth, right? Money is just a labor. So what the fuck? I know. It's just, but here is the like of all of this stuff is that once you see it, once you see it, once you see it, once you see it, the veils don't stop lifting. This is what is just like mind blowing to me. The patterns are speeding up. The awareness of the patterns within the patterns within the patterns, the sacred geometric structure of our beingness alongside the vortexual reality of our own manifested reality, of our own, I want to say, projected visions. And all we're doing here or attempting to do by God is to unify our field and collectively agree to birth a better world. I.e., do we feel the heart of compassion? Like we're all just as good as one another. That's the truth. That most of us don't. We shouldn't be using material and resources to lord power over one another. That we shouldn't be allowing just certain few, very few people to steal all of the world's resources and then use it against us. I don't think that should be happening right now. You know? God damn it. Like, I'm pretty sure there's more than enough for everybody, that we could all just play and frolic a whole lot more, and that we could just heal and then enjoy this beautiful earth realm, because my God, it's stunning. Like, seriously, this world is paradise. This world is heaven. How can you not see it? Like, you know? Yeah. Code cracking beauty goddess of love warriors. I know. Oh my God. See, I get all juiced up and excited. Oh, yeah, pretty much down to earth. Guys, down to earth's got some juicy goodness going on over there as well. Um and it's the musicians that often help me to get those sacred geometrics in the beingness, because of how we understand how vibration works, right? And then one of you, I think it was Brazen Air, who showed me that like you, if it's on a certain frequency, the water or whatever moves in this shape, and then it gets all like, ooh, as it's moving up the scale, it goes like and then it's on a higher frequency and it finds a rhythm, but it always goes through this weird like transformational process as it moves from one octave to another, or one frequency belt to another. 1 hot minute. Yeah, I feel that. I think this is part of the freedom break that we're in, is having to, I think for a lot of us anyway, that's the truth of that. There's something happening here with regards to divine remembrance of our cosmic origins, of the fact that we are cosmic beings. Yeah, sometimes in these awakening processes, and I try not to, I don't focus on the language, because I don't like to fixate on people escaping from their here now presence on this earth, because sometimes I think when we talk about multidimensionality, or when we talk about different star systems, people then kind of escape their reality in it, sort of in view of this fantasy about the star systems. I don't see them as separate from self. I see them as part of the greater context of the human story. And so for a lot of us, we have memory of the dimensional reality of these star systems, because we've unlocked the memory, the imagination, the soul essence of that part of self. And so a lot, we have infinite, uh, it's just that it's really, I think, weird for the mind, this weird 3D mind, to then suddenly go into infinite Ds. So we're programmed in this 3D construct, and then suddenly going like there, it's infinite. And a lot of us here, I would say, is that what, there's another wave. So we're part of another leadership wave, you could say. And then essentially all it is whatever we're doing and going through, there's going to be another wave that follow. And yet a lot of us, because of where we positioned ourselves, we're getting to the start of a new cycle and phase, that where we've been is going to happen. What we're where we've been and what we've been through, it's now going to start popping off for another larger group of the mass collective. And I'm somehow aware of that. Again, this is a mathematical thing, but like, so I'm aware of even working with people who are representative of a portion of the collective, which means the people being guided here are the ones that are going to transform that energy grid system from that collective imprint. just by facing the shadow and just by breaking free from toxicity and an illusion, essentially, right? Hmm. Right. Exactly. And that's our freedom here. And that's how essentially, by becoming aware of the reincarnation, or in our matrix system grid, that's how we liberate ourselves from it. We own it. Right. And then we have to continue to own the full spectrum, yeah, to navigate it, i.e., like be the darkness to navigate the light, kind of thing, rather than, if you deny the darkness, you're actually not as bright as you could be. I don't know, maybe that works. So we are always connected while we can still travel through space and time. Yeah, 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 precise. But this is one hot minute, and this is also, to me, where we are. It's like, that's the leap. That is the quantum leap, is that we have integrated that aspect, and so we do travel. We know this with, maybe some of you guys do this as well, but people who do a lot of work in the astral, you know this in certain circles, that there are these guru type people who can manifest their physical body, or the hologram of the self that they project, into different parts whilst they're still lying in bed in Bangladesh or something. But then they projected themselves. Like, I've heard these stories direct, and I've heard stories of miraculous divine distance healing by Tibetan fucking masters who know that so and so is going to die, and so they intervene because that person's path is guided and that person needs to survive in this lifetime. Like, seriously miraculous movie shit. And I don't even fucking watch movies anymore. So, the now now my life has become the movie, you know what I'm saying? Elf, nice. Yes, the jump is coming in fast for the collective. Good. I'm loving this, right? Because y'all, there's some of you, there's such a direct connection that I just feel like, if you're feeling that too, then it's happening. Um and we're the ones sort of holding space for it, because we have a responsibility here for part of the collective. So, and it's by choice, it's not a burden. And then I want to go back to, like, the multidimensional traveling, and how, like, that's just par for the course. That's actually the origin. It's who we are. It's natural. It's normal. It's just that we have to break out of that limitation construct. We have to remember, which a lot of our sci-fi movies like Star Trek and stuff are trying to remind us, just in these spaceships, we still have a ways to go to evolve our consciousness state, to then embody that and make manifest the technology that the masses will eventually be able to use to harmonize, um, the combustion state, that which is destroying the planet, rather than up leveling the planet into her divine blueprint. Yeah, subliminal message and everything. And that's why we don't judge books by covers, right? Because we never know. There's nothing to know outside of self. I mean, that's my understanding of the teachings. There's nothing to know outside of self, because everything, the self is only knowable through the energy, through the depth of the energy field that you can penetrate, essentially. Like, the veils keep going, keep going. It's never ending. It's never ending. And the weirdest paradox is that some of the holding space is some of the deepest, darkest pain, but then the exquisite highs are the rewards that keep us going and make us realize that we would never want to go back, you know? Yeah, we're just scraping the surface of the bigger picture. We're noodling. We're beginning. It's imminent. We're beginning to feel into this, and yet, as it continues to unfold, we'll be like, "Holy shit!" Remember when we were sitting with MJ at for 3 hours or whatever on YouTube, and we were talking about it. Whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 25 years from now, this is going to happen. Well, part of us might be laughing, another part of us will be doing some really hardcore work. Leading the new paradigm. New paradigm leaders of love. Okay. I think I'm getting a little bored of talking about myself. Or I'm not just talking about myself, actually, I'm talking about stuff, but still. The 5D world is an arm stretch away. Yeah, and I think the truth for us, anyway, is like, we're in it. That's like, again, kind of paradoxical. We walk among the matrix, but most of us are pretty, I would say, vibing the 5D reality. We're conscious creators. We're not reacting against the external world. We're just healing. We're healing stuff when it comes up, right? Um, and so when Elf's saying 5D is like an arm stretch away, I feel that. Like it's imminent. We're right there. We're just sort of looking around. We're like stepping in because we know we're ready to kind of to embrace and embody the dream that we are, the light-filled nature that we are. We know that the humanity's field has actually risen to a place of compassion where they can start to feel that we're not a threat. We're not here to frighten them. We're not here to take their lives. We're not here to oppress them. Like genuinely here to love them. Hey, Rochelle, how are you, my friend? Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think there's like a still like for us in waves, that makes sense to me. Like there's like true anchoring of the 5D and then we're still healing certain constructs even from the bridge phase because there are more people that jump. I feel that it's like the new souls being born are crystalline. They don't have the same karma. They're not even the 20, like the millennials. I can feel that that generation isn't carrying the same karmic backlog. And that it's going to be a constant regenesis within the body of the collective human mind as well. So when I'm not balanced up, I'm in the 4D. Yeah, and then you bounce back up because you face those as in you own it. So it's like you can't not move into 5D when you're just owning and transforming everything. And people, if they and it's in fairness at this point, people don't even know we're talking about when we're talking about these things. They're more than likely choosing the 3D reality as their whole experience, and that's where non-judgment and detachment comes in for those of us in this community because we have to stop thinking that we're here to save everybody and bring everybody along with us. I don't think that's a true thing. I just think, how do you want to live? Shall we joyfully be happy here? Yeah, and then that is the example, and that is all. It's not some grandiose having all the answers for everybody. It's just living in joy and gently, slowly but surely shining that joy so other people, I want that too. But it's genuine. It's not puppetry. It's not smoke and mirrors to lure people into chasing something that they're never going to find. It's like drop right in and you're home, that kind of thing. And living in a community where people we're not going, all that shit. And there again, like the empath gets it. Like it's not I most of us have experienced that kind of stuff most of our lives. You're like, hi, Anta. Then you're like, why does my heart hurt? Why do I feel attacked by you? I'm not sure. It's because they're shooting daggers in their mind at you. And again, I get it. We all get the polarity because we've also possibly, maybe, I'm not going to put anything on you guys, but like, I get it because I know it. I feel the jealousy stuff too. I feel all that stuff too. I just, over the years, have chosen that I don't want to act from that place because I realize that it's fucked. It's like you do more damage than good when you act from that place. A reaction's a bit different because we can usually hold space, but Sealy. And I'm just gonna put it out there, everybody here, increasingly so. And ultimately it's just the trigger of change. The way I write it in the book, it's that I think it's in step 4 when we get to this sort of subject where, you know, your light, your love, it basically triggers an other where they're not loving themselves. And they have to be willing to look at that if they want to change, right? It's not our fault though. Just like plenty of people, like a few days ago when I said I saw someone that made me feel jealous, I own it and transform it. I look at that and go, wait a minute, why am I jealous? Do I need to be jealous? Couldn't I be that too? Maybe I'm not happy. Maybe da 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 da, and so you work it out until you find the unity piece and where everybody gets to win in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. in your imagination, vibrashe, because the imagination is creating the world that we're all seeing and living in, and hence the collective agreement of let's all create a better world. Why lie? Exactly. Why lie? The truth. It's like what we said yesterday of like life is weirder than fiction. It is. Like, why lie? The truth is fucking da bomb. It's like, damn. Uh, 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 and like we were all told like life is normal. Shh. Life is just you just get a job and you make money and that's it. And we're like, really? This feels weird. Like I don't and then you're just like, oh, and that's the truth. But most people are like, you crazy. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm pretty sure that is crazy. Being a slave in a robotic mechanicus. Oh yeah, and then this is another thing about the industrial age is that we have to acknowledge that a lot of what we're outworking in a form of evolution is the industrial age. You know, we're moving, and the industrial age is very much like a sort of part of the closing cycle of the Piscean age, where we made a great deal of progress and damn near killed ourselves in the process, right? So the working 9 to 5 paradigm was used to make progress in that regard. And now we're moving into this Aquarian age, and or you could also call it the information age, and that is also an age of transformation. And so the age of transformation is ultimately us taking all of the good bits of progress that we've achieved via the enslavement system by being slaves to progress, take all of that is needed, which is a lot, and do without the rest. So we must shed and let go of the limiting constructs that are destroying ourselves on the planet and up level, improve, transform them, right? And then everything will be transformed with it. Oh, I love you guys. Really? See, that's sad, isn't it? Still, that often this is where I get the feedback resonance from people in office environments or people in school environments. You know, adults in powerful positions are having a really challenging time. And then you get the other adults being like, you need to hold it together for the children, or you need to da, da, and I'm like, why? The children are woke. Us trying to like keep it together and put on a fucking mask for our children is, I think, kind of a big pile of Ross. Because the kids know. Were you ever a kid? Can you not go into retrospect and realize that you could feel everything that was going on, whether you were cognitively aware of it or not? I was just a 4-year-old kid, but I wasn't energetically blind to the fact that my parents were fighting all the time. You know, even though I might not have exactly understood why or known exactly what was making them fight, I could feel the fact that there was conflict, and that's all you need to feel, you know? So we as a society we're kind of putting the messaging out there that like, yeah, 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 we're cool with mental health, or yeah, 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 take a mental health day, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't stop the backlash from people being like, I have people working with therapists. They're like psychiatrists or whatever. Um yeah, just basically saying like ease up on yourself and don't go there if it don't feel good to go there, basically. Woke since 2001. Children are woke, yeah, right? Not all. And then again, as soon as you got the devices around them, and as soon as if you put your kids into school, you'll notice the difference. You'll see them start to shut down, and or they'll start to have like mental breakdown and stuff. I started to go crazy by the time I was probably 7 or 8. So it was only 2 years into. Plus, there was parental stuff going on, but like I can remember having moments of shutdown during school indoctrination. Ah, I love Thursdays. My sister's her weekly visit. Yay. Totally. There's a reason I went 39 years without having a child. I'm getting there. And in my imagination, I have this like obviously this like divine mother. I'm like, I live in land and garden and cook only raw organic and so not me. Plus, I'll grow some cannabis and be dealing with no. I well, sure, yeah. Um, and so I have that vision, but I guess the truth is for me, I'm still not ready. You are all my children. You're all my children. I'm sure I joke about it though. I do think it's quite cute when I think about having a kid that I can fuck up myself, all myself, and love the bejesus out of as well. Like just goo love hot vibrashe all over that child. Um and just I don't know. I don't know why. And I haven't. This is like maybe the first little bit where I've actually gotten to the point of being like, oh yeah, maybe it'd be fun to have a little rugrat to boss about. Have a little kid to dress up like a Cabbage Patch doll during the baby years, you know? Have a kid to snuggle and try not to kill while you're snuggling it, kind of thing, you know? And have good care for it. I have that memory. I watched a movie where that happened. It's a very sad and tragic thing that happens in early stage mothering, but you smother the child. And that's actually like, there's stuff inside about children. I don't know. Is this a normal thing to fear as a mom? That like, do you ever, or and not as a mom, as a parent, apologies, dads out there, like as a parent, do you, or does that just wear off? As in, what am I trying to say? I'm like, did you ever get scared that the baby would die, that you'd kill the baby? And I feel like talking about quite a touchy subject because if any of us have ever lost a child, it's got to be like the most painful thing ever, or one of the most painful things, right? Oh, see, I could feel with her big muscles and or like just the boobies. And I think it's just the way it was a movie with Natalie Portman. I never even knew that it was a thing, basically. So you're holding the baby and the baby's breastfeeding and then you smother it basically. And you just think about how little and how vulnerable they are, you know? And just the depth of something like that occurring in our lives, my God. So that's me being honest about that. I have, uh, yeah, I've not gone down that route, and I have polarity of how wonderful and beautiful having a child would be, and then I also have the polarity of how like how scary it is. You know how like it's like a big thing. It's a big growing up thing to bring life into this world and to care for it and be responsible for it up to a certain point. But I'm also somebody who would take the route of like me own ma and just be like, "You're your own being. Sort yourself out." You know, I'm not. I don't know. I have no idea. I really can't talk about it because I'm not one. It's not. It's like one of those people telling me about yoga who've never done yoga. I'm like, okay, I I'm talking out of my arsehole right now, basically, because I don't have children. Never regretted reproducing, perfect. No, and I don't honestly, I don't think I've ever met a parent who didn't genuinely love their kids or kid and, like, regardless of how shitty of a day they were having, they were like, "Oh, but don't get me wrong, she's the best thing that ever happened to me," or, like, the kids are, like, the best thing that ever happened to them, right? And so, yeah, they're incredibly grateful and in love, but again, it's like we're talking about here, the more we get and the more we pull in and the more we are, then the more polarized energy we sit in as well. Hey, that's a great insight that way. I never really saw it that clearly. The physical apparatus of mommy and daddy create the physical apparatus of uh okay, there's something in there now. The physical apparatus is created by mom and dad. The physical mom and dad body. I'm gonna put this as a quote because there's layers that we can unravel and it's to do with how the patterning works. and it's to do for a way to cognitively understand, how to feel into the difference between our personal, like existential creation karma, as the embodiment light codes that we are, as the signature essence, and then the mom and dad are the physical, karma in the patterns of our body. um because everything else apart from the body is soul creative, it's God source, right? So it's only because this comment is triggering something that I felt or thought into yesterday. It was really kind of profound. It was about the mother father aspect, bringing us into unity. It is via the body, and yet we have to feel the love of the mother father creation within to heal the physical connection between the mother father and the family paradigm. It's true. When you really own that you create your own reality and then get used to facing and dealing with your fears as emotions, then you start to realize that you bombard you're it's like what Abraham talks about get out in front of it or get out ahead of it kind of thing. Once you start dealing with the emotional body, that's when you're actually transforming your unconscious low level patterns, because you're getting to them before they manifest. You're aware of the hatred, the self-loathing, the blah 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 before it manifests, and you're catching negative thinking, you're catching thought before you get momentum going, right? Hmm. Hey, Rochelle, 9/11 came up. Um, 9/11 came up in a reading, totally like a filter. And isn't it funny that Divine Sight has popped in the gremlins, and then somebody said, "Did anyone hear her voice change?" I'm like, have little gremlins come onto our live stream and made my voice funny?" Thanks that way. That way just reminded us all that we were gods and goddesses, yeah. Yeah, I left and came back. So Lori, I agree. I agree, and I can totally honor what you're saying. It is selfish. But I believe that we're allowed to be that too, and that we all have a different function. I don't believe that all people are meant to be parents, and I don't think it's more or less selfish or selfless to be a parent or to not be one. I actually think that there's a potential for that to be another construct for us to divide one another, because I'm not a parent. Because I sometimes feel quite a lot of judgment from other women when they find out that I don't have children, as if I'm not allowed to feel certain feelings like exhaustion or tiredness. Do you have a kid? No. Then they don't fucking even want to talk to me. And I find that sad, because I have a lot of respect for parents. I have a lot of all people, just all people. And like I feel that sometimes. I have so much love and respect that it's harsh sometimes when people um judge you as less than or as selfish because you're choosing what you're choosing for your life. And ultimately, if people judge me for that, then I can just stand in my power and say, and you choose your reality. Right. I get that a lot. I've had to distance myself from friends because they just kept hounding me. Like, when are you gonna have kids? When are you? And I'm like, I don't know if I fucking want them. Like, stop. Can we just have a nice time, and could you not be fucking pushing me and pressing me for like this thing that I'm supposed to achieve in your mind that I don't necessarily know if I even want to. I am. I'm still learning how to look after myself. And considering the state of affairs on this human collective, I just want to be sure that my body is ready, that my mind, that my soul, that my heart, that my finances, for God's sakes. I know that nothing's secure and necessarily totally in our control, but I'm like, I don't want to feel pressured by nobody to have a child. At the same time, I never, ever, ever, and like I can feel like a bit of like emotion coming up. I would never want a parent to feel bad about themselves, like, and I would never want, but then that's just the typical thing of the fucking empath. None of us want to trigger each other. None of us want to make each other feel bad. And yet we do all the time. Hey, fifth. Totally get you. LOL. For sure, Lori. For sure. Oh, nice one, Rochelle. Rochelle's just seen Fifth's video. Go over to Fifth. Hang out. Hang out. Oh, I know. Well, that's my next step, Lori. If I'm honest with you, I'm going to be the girl with all the dogs. Or no, that's not true at all. I'm going to maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking about fostering, but I have to. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. And parenting is a mixed bag. And like for you guys who are parents, like, did you ever think it would be like that? It's like me not being a parent. I was programmed the way we all were, and I obviously figured I'd be like the majority of my high school friends who are married with kids and living these really rather perfect looking lives. I assumed I'd be there too. But no, I've wandered off into the UK and ended up living in a foreign country and living alone in this very, very small coastal town. It's like weird. I have a fucking it's all weird. It's all weird. And it's like not at all what we thought. And I agree with the down to earth dad of like parenting is a mixed bag. And then here's the thing. I think we can get triggered and touchy. And the truth is it's like every single person in our lives, our parents, our brothers, our sisters, the strangers, our kids, that we're all teaching each other stuff. And even when a parent or a child makes an exit, i.e., bails on life, I've got, as in kids get sick. We lose our parents. We lose kids. And it's sometimes the most painful and traumatic experience that we experience. And yet it makes us better people. It makes us more compassionate. And though any of us connected to spirit, we also know that we never die. So when people leave the physical body, they're doing it by choice, whether it looks like that or not. And there is always a collective soul movement and agreement and learning in any profound pain. That's what I believe anyway. Parent. I just looked down at Fifth's comment where she's saying such a mixed bag, and in my mind, I actually vocalized parent. Like I was trying to read such a mixed bag. I just said parent. Do you guys ever do that? Where you have like a slip of where you're like having a conversation and then you see you're like, oh yeah, Susie, blah, 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 phone box. But you don't, it's because you saw a phone box and it comes out, but it wasn't at all what you're saying. Okay, I'm just making a joke of myself. One day I will be a parent and I will tell all of you that I am the best parent in the world and you will listen to me and buy my things and then I will rule over the world. Oh my God, I need to just stop talking now. I do not want to extend that already very deep emotions that I had into oblivion of another person that I made and love more than. Fifth, do you have kids? I curious. I don't know. That's my number that way. Woo! Well, I have a light, and usually when the light I don't know if you notice at some point, maybe like an hour, hour and a half in, the light just like, and then sometimes the light actually goes off. And that's usually like my cue to just jug on kind of thing. Well, and something I find interesting about this community is I think is a lot of the energy of very deep stuff. Totally. All right. Um, and it's the very deep stuff that we're assisting because there's a lot of, I want to say, the reversal of the world's paradigm. So where women are programmed to have a certain projected belief system about men, what's happening in my reality now is all of that's getting turned around. So what's weird now is that I'm meeting women who are out working certain abuse patterns and men who have been victimized by women, if that makes sense. Sort of makes sense in my mind. It's just it's not really relevant. It's just one of those things in my own patterning that I'm kind of outworking anyway. Oh, he's more God than I ever will be. And I'm sure that's just how you'd feel. And if anything, like that's the only reason selfishly that I want a kid really is like just it's basically what people describe about this love that they feel like they never imagined possible. And who knows? I'm not attached to it. I'm not attached. 9-year-old boy. Oh, lovely. And I kind of, even though people are like, you create your own reality, I'm like, I know, but I also am in alignment with like this infinite divine. And so there's part of me that just wants, like, if I'm meant to have a kid, like the divine will make that happen. But there's too much going on, you guys. I can't manifest it all, okay? Like, ascended without him. Right. So we're all just helping each other. Like there's no separation. I talk about that. Like women who live in community can all breastfeed each other's kids. I'm like, I'm sure there could be ways of getting over a lot of our divisiveness and actually share one another's family. Because I don't know about some of you, but I'm also from a family construct where you know there are people with no family, in the world, and I sometimes just think, can't we all just get along and all be family to each other? Because again, the empath would feel so sad when you feel the wound of like homeless men who have hit rock bottom and the women kicked them out. And I'm not saying one side over the other, but I'd often feel that soul family. Ooh, divine side. Manifesting it all. Fifth, thank you. I agree. All of us here are going to be just fine indeed. Can you believe? Can you quite believe how much we've been through though for Riz? Even though it might not look like much, and even though time is totally disappearing, I'm like, what is happening? And what was that? And what is any of this actually? And that's so much my like 3D reality. I'm just like, oh my god. Anyway, happy solstice to all of you guys. Thank you. Yeah, I had a timeline healing session and I remember jumping to 39 and having a vision of myself on a beach with a big prugger belly with a man behind me hugging me. And so I was 39 in that vision. And then, if I might be ever so like at 44 is when I saw like the 60s Woodstock revolution evolution and like stage and people just being like because we've obviously overcome something humongous by maybe the plastic industry shifts or the economy is finally being rebuilt or certain dickheads have been removed from power positions and certain more compassionate leaders have been put in place, and there will be a number of socioeconomic changes that happen that will bring us into these greater expansive experiences together. Okay, you guys, that's it for me today. Divine sight. Of course you are. Because that's like the reflection as well, weirdly, isn't it? How funny. I keep thinking I'm 39. I'm actually not, you guys. I'm 37. I'm 37. I'm 37. Although I was talking to a lady yesterday who thought I was 25, which of course is like, Rochelle, I do not believe that. Rochelle, I do not believe is 69. Oh, Celie Jane, you're 37 as well. I thought that you was younger. I don't know why. Just a double barrel name like Jamie Lee or Molly Ann. I just imagine as like, yeah, a young person, like 12. Even though Celie Jane, I know you're like an adult, but like you're 20, okay? Oh, cool. Yeah, I think sometimes I think sometimes I guess I don't like again the word like spiritual people, but truly connected people, there is an essence of agelessness to them. Because some of you guys are putting numbers down, and I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, Elf, you're not 50 years old. But then I'm like, what's in an age? I when I spent time in India, literally could not fucking tell. I'm like, I don't know, are you 21? They're like 37. I'm like, right. But like genuine, like not knowing, or seeing somebody being like, yeah, they're probably like in their 40s, and like I'm 25. I'm like, right. Like I'm not great with them. Oh, see, is that better sense? 69, 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019. You 50, my friend. You 50. Coming to the very, very critical 50 is a huge, huge year, isn't it? My only tell is my wisdom here. Same. Can you guys see it? There's quite a lot actually in certain lights you can see the 27. I would actually roughly hazard that with Chris. I'm sure we had a chat about that yesterday because I was surprised that you had grown up kids. Because even in your small little handle, you still kind of look like a teenager to me. But again, it's nice. And again, I had this realization yesterday. Fifth, I'm with you and all of you, by the way. Yes, I also know this. The body is reprogrammable. That's why we're going to keep supporting each other in the regenesis elixir. It's that we can be eternally youthful and just exit the body. The aging process is a program. I know it's brutal, but it's true. So is eating. Like most of the things we do in 3D reality are programmed into us to keep us on that loop, in the reincarnation grid, essentially, so that we never leave. So that we keep coming back, and the grids can keep harnessing our energy, and then we're like, "Eh." So now we're breaking free via the emancipation of our emotional, mental body, and the program is what we're dissolving. So let's keep at it, and let's keep visualizing each other as the perfect divine goddess and god beings that we are, always regenerating, always being more and more healed, always being more and more divinely goddess like and godlike, always being infinitely intelligent, compassionate, and loving, and always, you know what I'm saying, you guys? So it's like the prime time age of 3D reality is ultimately where we all grow to in form and then hang out there until we die. Happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy dude. And the program is essentially like what size, what form, what shape, what did it up. And at the same time, we're still working with the challenges and themes that we've placed in our grid and or the blueprint of the DNA being. We can still embody that. That's part of the polarity of merging spirit with physical essence, is that we still have to accept, heal, and harmonize that which we have already created to uncreate it. And the DNA, yes, we are reprogramming so that we embody certain shapes, we show up to appear certain ways. I'm hearing this is a weird insight. I'm hearing it actually it does have something to do with the collective teachings. Does that resonate with anyone? Anyway, learn to program your mind, right? I believe that. And people, I do know people learning to program as well. Okay, you guys, I do my website because it's user friendly. Really, I'm not a tech, I'm not a program person or tech person. It is done. I hear you. Awesome. The very, very big narrative. Right. Nice. Nice. Addressing the narrative, the very, very big right. Uh, and in fairness, that's part of where our points of attraction, I think, me is that weirdly a lot of us have a connection point in as far as feeling a lot of responsibility. Two, that's part of the mission piece. Three, is because our energy field can contain it and hold it, and that's what it's designed for. You miss such. We're here to be the way. That way. I love you guys. I love you guys. Yeah, that's the full totality, isn't it? When we realize that the universe we look at in awe is also within us, we become one timeless being. It's true. Age will become timeless because that's the infinite elixir of consciousness, right? I love you guys. I'm so thankful for you. Look, boom, 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 boom. Another 2 hour share. What is happening? Just goes to show how much I love you. So happy solstice, you guys. I hope that like the energies start to lift for us. I feel it. I do feel this increasing feeling of like it's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new world, it's a new world. And I feel good. I do actually feel good. And a lot of it is thanks to you. So I'm thankful that you guys show up with me here in the mornings. And I know it's nighttime and different times of day for you, but I think that's even more cool that we all get to meet up and hang out in our lovely little like ultra love community and just feel love and maybe have some laughs and maybe some cries because that's what I do too. Oh yeah, because we're human. I love you guys. Have a glorious day. And I look forward to speaking to you real soon. Happy, 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 happy solstice. Happy, 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 happy solstice. Bye, you guys.